Hello! So, my standard intro. I have done a PBR tutorial once before, and I feel like it's time for a more advanced PBR tutorial for you. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to press X to delete it all. So, A to select all, X to delete. And we're just going to bring in a plane. I'm going to hit Tab to go to edit mode, and let's bring it up. And you don't actually matter how big you make it. I just like it to be nice and big so I can have a good look at it. And we're going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to go into shading and a new. So for now, I'm going to leave it in Eevee just because Eevee's quicker. Go into render mode and I'm going to go into world. I'm just going to increase the strength a little, the color, sorry, not the strength, just to make it a little bit brighter. Nope, back into object. I can obviously just change it here and make it into whatever I want, but this is a PBR tutorial. So we're going to go to Blender, and I do have some textures in here, and not those ones. I want the ones in the tutorial one. Textures. Brilliant. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with this ground one. Import the color, connect it up, and we'll have a look at to see how this looks once it actually loads in. There we go, and that would look alright on its own. Actually, that's a really nice texture. But let's switch the negative one to non-color, and this time I'll want the roughness. And accidentally I have set the main color to non-color, and I want sRGB. And I want the second one to be roughness, which is non-color. Next one, I want the normal. Is edit vector, normal map, plug that one in. And this one again is a non-color texture. And then once that's in, we should have our first PBR material. Brilliant. But what if I wanted to merge this material into another? Well, to do that, I would need a mix shader. So we'll add in a mix shader. I'm going to duplicate the principal shader by Shift D, connecting that up. Bring that down here just so that it's underneath. And duplicate this one just because it's the top one. Now we're going to open this, and I want it to merge into a different texture. So for the sake of this, I'm going to merge it into a grass texture. You'll notice that it doesn't quite work straight away, and I get a mix of both, which, to be honest, if that is what you're after, then that actually works. But I'm going to fill all of them in, and then we'll show you what we do. The fact that these two textures work together quite well already is actually quite nice. And again, I set the wrong ones to sRGB, normal, then vector, normal map, connect it up, and set this to non-color. Brilliant. So now, when it loads up, we've got a mixture of both textures. So we've got both this one and this one merged together to make this one. But what if we want to define where is which? Well, we can go texture, and we can either add an image texture or we could add just a noise texture. Plug the color into the factor, and then with this editing of this noise texture, I'm actually going to go to material mode here, and we can actually change. You can see how it's moving now. Change how it works. But what we're actually going to do is if I quickly go in and add a ramp, bring these closer up together. And then it looks like we've got sort of grassy patches with some less grassy patches. And obviously you can tweak this as much as you want to ensure that you have exactly the breakup that you want. You can have it quite strong if you wanted to. You can loosen it a little, or you could just make it very strong, or if you wanted to, flip it round, and then you can bring in grass this way. And you've got some slightly more altered textures. But what if you didn't want to use a noise texture and you want even more control? Well, we could go and add an image texture, plug that one into the factor, click new, and then we'll call this one factor. And now, because it's a singular color, you'll notice that we've just got a singular mix here. And we'll plug that one into the factor here, straight up in. And you'll notice there is none of the green. There is a reason for this. It's because this texture is completely black. So if I, with this texture selected here, go on texture paint. Here is the factor texture. We can check to make sure it's the right one up here. And now if I draw here, I'm actually able to draw stuff. So I can draw whatever I want here. I can just, it doesn't actually matter what I draw. And then go image, pack, and now if I go back to layout and look at this, there we go, we've got it on. And you might think, well, why would you want to do that? Well, if I were to like this, what I might want to do is I've now obviously set it to completely black. So if I switch it white, sorry, so it'll be completely grass, other than this little bit over here, and I can go and add in a trail that goes through. Just get this bit. Now when I head back to image, oh, it's already packed, so I don't need to. But if I go back to layout now, we've got like a path going through. What if we still want some patchy bits? Well, I can now go here, and I could go for another mix. This time I want mix RGB, and I can go for a noise texture. Plug that one into the color, and I still want this one in the factor. And allow the shaders to compile. Brilliant. And I want the other one to be completely white. I need to reverse them. And this one should be completely black. Other way around, completely white. But you can see sort of what we're going at here. So if I go in, I can control slightly how much noise there is in the different areas, because currently it's affecting that bit. So if I invert this, reverse it, and now I should have control over that bit there. Okay. Now as I adjust this, I'll be adjusting the outside bit. So say I still want some patchy parts, I can increase this, I can increase the roughness, distortion. I could even bring this color ramp back in, giving me the control over it again. Once the shaders compile, and I can go in, I could just make it nice and hard with some nice patchy areas. And you end up with a very complex PBR material, which is a lot simpler than it looks, but you've got a path here that's been walked on and some patchy grass. You could obviously mix as many textures as you want if you wanted. You could add another mix shader and do this process again for an addition. You could mix wood going into metal if you wanted to. You can mix absolutely anything, but for obvious reasons, grass into mud works a lot better. Thank you for watching, and I hope this more advanced PBR tutorial is useful for you.